The news of Val Kilmer's death surprised everyone, but the revelations that followed left admirers even more shocked. While the entertainment industry was in mourning over the death of a shining star, a disturbing document came to light. Details so shocking and unexpected were concealed in Val Kilmer's autopsy report that they caused everyone to wonder what truly transpired in his last days. The news reports this differently. It's what the tributes and movie montages were trying to cover up. Something you didn't know before about Val Kilmer's final chapter is about to change your world. You won't believe what's in that report, so be sure to stay tuned. The tragic demise of Val Kilmer, a Hollywood tribute. The news that Val Kilmer had passed away struck Hollywood and the world at large like a ton of bricks on April 1, 2025. The legendary actor, who was 65 years old, was killed off after starring in several blockbuster films, including Top Gun, Batman Forever, and The Doors. What is the reason for it? According to the official statement, issues related to pneumonia. But as the news spread like wildfire on social media, admirers paid homage. There seemed to be a missing piece to the story. Almost immediately, the tributes began to flood in. Kilmer was a brilliant, unpredictable force who left an indelible mark on every scene he touched, according to Heat co-director Michael Mann. An emotional statement was offered by Josh Brolin. "Goodbye, darling. I will long for your presence. You were an intrepid, imaginative, and fearless spark." Even the official Top Gun account expressed its sorrow over the loss of Iceman, expressing writings of regret and a common feeling that his departure was too abrupt. Despite all the flower arrangements, speeches, and media recaps, there were rumblings. For a long time, people knew that Val Kilmer was sick. After years of rumors and denial, he eventually went public in 2017 about his lengthy and obvious struggle with throat cancer. His audience saw him gasp for air as he lost his voice. With the exception of a powerful cameo in Top Gun Maverick, they subsequently fade from public view. Many felt it was a goodbye, even when he came back to the screen with the aid of voice AI and inventive filmmaking. However, upon hearing of his passing, the majority of people presumed that he succumbed to the cumulative effects of his cancer therapy. It wasn't shocking to see pneumonia in a compromised physique. The subsequent events were the most unexpected. In the days after his passing, a separate discussion started behind closed doors, despite the constant flow of tributes and media coverage of Kilmer's most famous roles. Everyone from his closest friends and relatives to his old co-workers and even some members of his own family began to confess that they had been unaware of how terrible things had gotten. Numerous sources suggested that Val Kilmer had been increasingly reclusive in the months preceding his death, ignoring calls, rejecting visitors, and declining offers of assistance. The number of queries posed by supporters quickly increased. He hadn't been seen in public for months. Why was that? For some reason, rumors circulated that he had been hospitalized multiple times in the past year, but no one ever reported on it. And why was his complete autopsy report withheld, even though pneumonia was officially the cause? These inquiries were initially obscured by the deluge of tributes. Yet several journalists persisted in their investigation. Rumor has it that the autopsy turned out some disturbing findings. Unexpectedly specific details. Clues indicate the public may not have known how much darker Kilmer's last chapter was. But for the time being, everyone was sad. Some of Val Kilmer's most beloved flicks were rewatched by fans. Images of a beaming Kilmer from his peak, together with excerpts from his films and interviews, appeared in Kilmer's social media feeds. However, a subtle discomfort persisted behind the surface of the shared sorrow. Although the manner of his death was reported in the headlines, the true narrative, which was concealed in the details of his final medical report, remained to be revealed. And when it did emerge, it surprised everyone. Val Kilmer, the Hollywood mysteries behind his success and notoriety. Val Kilmer was an unstoppable force in Hollywood, long before his death became a topic of tributes and speculation regarding the results of the autopsy. A guy who, in his latter days, was shrouded in mystery and gossip, yet had the unique ability to captivate an audience and vanish behind a character. The ascent of Val Kilmer was both rapid and remarkable. A native Californian, he was born in the city in 1959 and had an early passion for the performing arts. At the age of 16, he broke a record by being admitted to Juilliard's esteemed drama program. It was after that Hollywood began to express interest. His 1984 comedy Top Secret was his breakthrough role. It hinted at his charismatic and chaotic acting chops. His 1986 film Top Gun, nevertheless, was the one that really brought him fame. Kilmer, in his role as Tom Iceman Kazansky, deftly stole sequences from Tom Cruise, revealing Cruise's true colors as the story's confident antagonist. After that, his career took off. He was so convincing as Jim Morrison of The Doors that even Morrison's bandmates couldn't believe it. Also, Doc Holliday's famed turn as the Southern gunslinger in Tombstone. Despite the inherent baggage of the role, he became Batman in the critically acclaimed and commercially successful film Batman Forever, which was released in the 1990s. For the simple reason that allegations that Val Kilmer was a handful multiplied in tandem with his rising star power. Rumors started circulating from film shoots. According to the directors, he was demanding, unpredictable, and sometimes aggressive. During filming of The Island of Dr. Moreau, Kilmer got into so many fights with the cast and crew that one director quit. He was the most difficult actor Joel Schumacher had ever worked with, and the director, who oversaw his performance in Batman Forever, was very frank about his mental health issues. Kilmer denied the allegations and went on to explain that he was simply a perfectionist who loved to immerse himself in his parts and wasn't frightened to communicate what was on his mind. However, his reputation continued to take a hit. Towards the beginning of the 2000s, he faded from the limelight and became less marketable, taking a step back from the forefront of Hollywood. Regardless, Kilmer has an irresistible charisma that no one could resist. He continued to be cast by filmmakers despite the press painting him as a divvy. People continued to watch. No matter how many parts he performed, you could see there was a man struggling with issues beyond his public persona. And then, the sickness set in. Kilmer chose to remain silent when rumors started circulating in 2014 about his deteriorating health. Nothing was spoken publicly about his cancelled engagements, apparent weight loss, or hoarse voice. Despite his friends and followers noticing something was obviously wrong, he denied rumors of cancer for years. Kilmer didn't come clean about it in 2017. While discreetly receiving radiation, chemotherapy, and, finally, a tracheotomy which severed his vocal cords, he had been battling throat cancer. After much waiting, he spoke about it, and his fans loved his candor. Upon his return to public life, they lauded his perseverance as he smiled and appeared fragile once more. They celebrated his return as Iceman and Top Gun, Maverick as a triumphant return. Allow me to explain. Kilmer had kept a lot of things from the world, and that became increasingly apparent as you delved into his life. Yes, there were memorable roles during the career, but there was also a great deal of secrecy, stress, and silence on the true happenings behind the scenes. Not only did he feel the need to hide and defend his privacy at all costs during his career and sickness, but this was something that no one, not even his closest friends and family, could have predicted. Until the very end, it would trail after him. Neither the interviews nor the tabloids would reveal the most unsettling aspect of his narrative. It would stem from the things found following his demise. The inner struggle, Kilmer's quiet struggle against cancer. Val Kilmer's public life appeared to be a highlight reel for a long time. On red carpets, in Hollywood blockbusters, and in interviews, he would often grin. However, Kilmer was engaged in a personal struggle that he chose not to discuss, hiding behind the spotlight and the paparazzi. He had already lost nearly everything in the conflict when word got out. It started off softly. Something changed about him about 2014, and his admirers noticed. A thinner, weaker man he appeared. When he appeared in front of the audience, his speech was gruff and raspy. There were rumors about his hospitalization, postponed activities, and hazy images of him appearing weak. Every time the media inquired, Kilmer dismissed the rumors that he was gravely sick. There were times when it was obvious he wasn't okay, but he always said he was. In 2017, the truth was eventually revealed. Kilmer confirmed widespread suspicions in an interview with THR. His throat had been found to be cancerous. Over the course of 3 years, he endured radiation, chemotherapy, and a tracheotomy, the latter of which irreversibly damaged his speech. In classic Kilmer style, he played it down, while making light of his hoarse voice and asserting his well-being. However, the reality was trickier. His life had been spared by the treatments, but nearly all of his other possessions had been gone as well.